Now, you as a business owner, as well as
Yeah.
uh, doing this, do you think there is still a need?
There's still a need. 100%.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100%.
Um,
I think in a way it's right for them to introduce some level of scrutiny.
yeah.
It was made too easy. And I'll tell you where the problem occurred, and it's where what will park the healthcare visa aside. That was one thing that triggered this whole thing off, because a lot of they introduced a healthcare visa,
Yeah.
during COVID, because there was a genuine need for nurses and healthcare workers in care homes. I don't think they needed to introduce a separate category for this. The general skilled worker route works. They didn't need to identify it as a separate thing. But I think the benefit of it was that you pay a lot. You don't pay any health surcharge.
Yeah.
Applicants don't pay a health surcharge, and the visa application fee is like £284, or was 284.
That just opened the
That
doors to.
so it's really cheap, right?
Mm.
And what people were doing, what they've changed obviously since last April, but what people were doing was that you and I could set up a company, ABC Care, and say, I'm a care company and I want to hire, or even law firms could do it. I could say, I want to hire a nurse because I want to hire a nurse, or I want to hire a carer because I want to hire a carer. And I didn't have to be CQC registered or show them any contracts or anything like that, right? And people were just setting up companies and saying, yeah, we need 70 carers. And people were coming in, and they come here and there's no jobs. And
Yeah.
so that's one abuse that did occur, and it was
So
terrible,
I
right?
also saw job agencies
Yeah, yeah,
created.
yeah.
Yeah.
Agencies were doing this. And agencies generally, whilst they can apply for a license to sponsor their own workers, they can't sponsor workers to farm out
Yeah.
as agency workers. And that's not just in the healthcare sector. This is,
Everywhere.
the agency's work has been going on for a long time in the IT sector. You had a lot of agencies that would bring in IT workers from India, for example, and then farm them out to larger companies. And they'd pay them a salary, fixed salary, but they'd have a contract to set. And that's prohibited by the rules as well, and always has been. So IT companies face scrutiny for this agency stuff. Healthcare agencies will obviously face similar scrutiny now. But so that was one area of abuse, and we're still recovering from that. Where I think even in the white paper, the suggestion they're going to finish the healthcare visa route altogether, in by 2027 or 2028. And then you had the student route. You had students that were coming in and essentially just working not as agency workers, but as subcontractors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got your whole fleet of Uber drivers and Deliveroo guys that would, someone else would have the contract or whatever. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but person A would be getting the salary, but person B would actually be doing the work. And so these companies are now going to face a lot of scrutiny. Are facing scrutiny. One of these larger ones faced a couple of million fine just now, for hiring without carrying out right to work checks. Right.
Is this why sometimes when you order Uber, you see somebody else's picture?
Somebody else's picture, somebody else is delivering, right? And so that's what's happening, because there's this whole subcontracting industry that's going on, and I think particularly in the delivery industry, but also happens in the hospitality industry. Also happens, and this is what it is, right? It's modern day slavery, and this is what they're trying to stop now, because they can't be seen to do that. And so that's the other area of abuse, where they saw, a lot of these students coming in, and they were, whatever means possible, trying to get some form of sponsorship. And so, look, we're going to face, and I think we're already seeing a drop in student numbers. It's already happened. We're already seeing a drop in the care worker visas and their dependents coming in. And another fraud was this whole dependent thing as well, where dependents were coming in where they weren't actually married to the person. They just, whoever bought the visa, these guys were added on as an add-on, turned up at the airport, your husband and wife, and so, they stopped the dependent route as well for care workers in particular. And for other skilled workers, they ask for evidence of your relationship now. So, bills for the last 2 years and that kind of stuff to show that you're a genuine couple. So I think what we will see is the abuse that has occurred. They have targeted it correctly. And I think we will see a reduction. And And I think it's a good reduction in a way. It will clear out, it'll make things easier again for genuine employers, because genuine employers are facing difficulties with recruitment. Um, I have one client, they're an interior designer. They had one student that was working for her from Japan, and they had a sponsored worker who was working as a online sales executive. I think she was from China, and she was sponsored in the rules previously, on a graduate working visa, switching over. Both of those workers are now saying, that they're scared of the proposed changes, and we were going to get the sponsorships done now so that we could get them under these current rules, okay? Because a sales executive doesn't qualify under the new rules, okay? When we're talking about graduate level roles, when we go through the SOC codes, most of the codes starting with 3 are gonna, they're gonna be gone, and so you're gonna be left with,
much
smaller pool of workers that you can actually sponsor. So both of these workers are not going to be able. We're not going to be. This company would not be able to sponsor them, if these rules get introduced, and we don't know when they're going to be introduced. But if they get introduced in October, which is when rules generally get introduced in October or April, if these rules get introduced in October, these people would not be qualifying.
Wow.
So it will affect businesses. It's going to make life difficult for them. And I think after a period of 1 or 2 years, once we've sifted through this, and once
We'll see a change again.
they've made that big win announcement, it's a political decision, right? Because the Farage threat is real.
Yeah.
The Nigel Farage threat is real.
Yeah.
And if they want to stay in power next term, they've got to address
these
issues, and it's a political move. And I think once things die down and once things are cleared up, we still need to figure out what they're going to do about the illegal immigration, which is the point of contention, really.
Yeah.
Yes, these areas of abuse need to counter, but they might be taking things 1 or 2 steps too far. For example, this I think the lowering of the skills threshold doesn't need to happen. I think they need to make things stricter for students. I think they've already increased the salaries.
Yeah.
And it's already pretty expensive. They don't need to increase the health surcharge.
Yeah.
They don't need to increase the skill surcharge, what they're going to do. The skill surcharge, which currently organizations have to pay, small organizations pay £364 a year for the workers that they sponsored. And the large organizations pay £1,000 a year for the worker they sponsor. So imagine a large organization sponsoring somebody for 5 years on a £70,000 salary. They pay £5,000 for the skill surcharge. They're paying visa application fees. They're paying health surcharge. I have one of my clients is a bank, and they sponsor the dependent family members for their for the workers as well. So if they've got somebody coming in over for France, coming in as a managing director level, they're being paid a whatever, 6-figure salary. This person's got a wife and 5 kids, coming in for 5 years. They're paying in excess of £40,000 for this person to come in. And that's, they're bearing that expense. That's fine. But to increase that, it's still already one of the most expensive systems in the world. So I think they're taking things too far by increasing some things. Other things, yes, I think some changes do need to be introduced. I think increased scrutiny on license applications. Yes, sure.